Assalamu alaikum. My name is Umayma Ahmed and our group name is Corona Ninjas, and these are the group member names and metric numbers. Our topic was statistical research on the financial conditions of students due to pandemic of COVID-19. For COVID-19, we as students are facing much more problems. As a team, we were curious to find out the effect of coronavirus that has been causing everywhere. So we conducted a survey in IIUM students community on the topic of effect of COVID-19 on financial situation of students. So in the survey we asked them what does their study cost financing dependent on. Is it a scholarship or a government aid, or is it a self-sponsored? So we are conducting this research to see what is the financial condition of students due to the pandemic of COVID-19. Self-sponsored students will have more effect on their finances, as their family income most probably were halted or slowed due to this pandemic, and students with scholarship may have less trouble in this situation. We expect a sharp increase on monthly expenditure due to internet data charges. However, our survey revealed otherwise on some aspect of the situation. So our problem statement is to find out the effect on monthly savings of the students, and as their part-time job is not open at this moment, and we also tried to rate how COVID-19 has affected a student's monthly savings. For COVID-19 situation, students are facing trouble to collect money for their tuition fees or other issues related to their daily life, and their amount of spending money in lockdown is also increased because of they have to use their own mobile data if they are living outside the campus. And based on what we hear and saw in TV and news, it is apparent that coronavirus has halted the plans of the whole world, and the students are the unfortunate victims. So we as students suffer in the health conditions, psychological state, and also regarding to our study fee and finance. So our hypothesis of our survey was that we are expecting that students were suffering more in COVID-19 situation, and we also expected managing money for their necessities were quite challenging in this pandemic. And most importantly, it has become a burning question for students to continue a part-time job, because most of the job sectors or the places are either locked down or they are closed for a time. So the method we used, the data was collected based on students from IIUM, the students both local and also international, and we collected this data by using online survey at Google Form. On this survey we responded 92. There were like 92 respondents, and we used inferential statistical method, and from data that we collected, we used the variance and standard deviation to determine the spread of the data and the consistency of a variable. To determine the number of data values that fall within a specified interval in a distribution, we are using Chebyshev's theorem. So this is the effect on monthly savings of students that have self-sponsored and scholarship and government aid or other sources. So in this central tendency comparison, we can see that self-sponsored students, their mean was 3.49, where they faced much problems than the other funding sources. So, and when it comes to other sources of funding, the mean is 2.65 and the standard deviation is 1.23. So our analysis on troubles paying fees, this is our analysis, and our central tendency comparison was here mean is 2.84 and mode is 3, mid-range is 3, variance is 1.64, and the standard deviation is 1.22. And this is the analysis on problems faced due to pandemic. Central tendency comparison, the mean was 2.84, mode was 3, and variance was 1.48, and standard deviation is 1.22. Let's figure showing amount of money spent on internet before COVID-19, and right figure showing amount of money spent on internet after COVID-19. Showing the availability of backup plans in case crisis worsens. Like most of the people didn't have any backup plan, but 31.5% students had a backup plan if they face any problems or any crisis, or the crisis get even worse. So the limitations and weakness in our survey was like small amount of responses due to the time constraint. After a limited time, we stopped the taking responses. So we had in total 92 respondents, and incidentally bad sample are taken, and selecting respondents from only our universities, local and international, cause other factors that needed to be also considered to be overlooked. And it could be better if we can take more responses than we do, not have the chance to justify all the values are either correct or not. And we are specifically curious about the financial situation of students, with an initial hypothesis that self-sponsored students will feel more of an impact than students sponsored through in other ways, government aid, or if it's from any other sources or not. Certain aspects of our survey felt too broad in its scope, and we would recommend narrowing down some factors. Though we have received favorable answers, many more factors can play a role in the situation of the students. This result is clearly illogical and contradicted to our hypothesis. Thus, we rejected due to the limitations and weakness of our statistical research. Our recommendations for this survey was to make a larger sample size and make a specific universities, and not to fix the dependent sample. And we can also include more factors like family earning details, income ratio in COVID-19, or do students get aid from any sources in COVID-19, or chances of doing part-time job as a backup plan like this. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching.